Hello. I hope you guys had a good Easter, a good spring day yesterday. It's about to really warm up here in the Northeast. Spring will really come to the Northeast this week. That's pretty exciting. And then, of course, it'll dip away. In the Northeast, we have this sort of push-pull between the tail end of winter and the beginning of spring. So maybe there's something in that. I wrote down two things as usual. One is when I worked in a school for kids at risk, residential place for kids who were, sort of one step away from like a locked situation, and in many ways it was just they were warehousing people for a lot of money, and the teaching amounted to, because it was a school, they expected you to work out of a notebook as the teacher, out of a workbook, and like stay within anyways, it wasn't a great fit for me, but I did stay. And one of the things I thought was interesting was they had us, faculty and students, fill out a form where they said, when you read, for instance, one of the questions was, when you read, do you need to lie down? Do you usually lie down? When you study, are you often lying down? Or, I remember catching a lot of crap in grade school because I would put my head down on the desk and fill it out that sideways. In my case, part of it was I was so tired. I was so tired all the time. But I think I had that learning style. There are people who like bright lights. There are people who like dim lights. There are people who work better when there's music playing. There are people who need complete silence. And one of the things I realized with some of these kids, where I really recognized it, I like to do it this way, lie down. There were kids there who couldn't focus, could not begin to, they'd just be like their nervous systems were just wanked. But if you just put your hand on their shoulder, it like grounded them. They just calmed down, rather than, because there were people there who the kid would go off and they'd put him in a hold, bending their fingers back or, pinning them to the floor. Anyway, there were some intense interventions, but I found that sometimes, not being one to wrestle somebody to the floor immediately, that's like not my go-to response. I'd try to talk, sometimes not saying very much, but just like talk it down, bring on the gentle voice, or put my hand on their shoulder, which somehow with some kids worked. With other kids, you put your hand on their shoulder and they go off like a wild animal. They'll go into the corner or, want to hit you. So you need, we don't all operate in the same way at all. Some people can accept sort of comfort or the connection through the touch, and other people, just are like very reactive. May have grown up in just completely different circumstances. The other image of the can, it's not written on the card, but I like it anyway, because it's sort of the teacher-student thing. I've known in a couple of instances, I've watched or heard wonderful stories about, the first was a woman who took care of me when I was a tiny baby. and of my siblings as well. And, with me, it was just feed the baby, hug the baby, dance the baby. But I had an older brother who was known to be a difficult guy. And, even as a little kid was sort of like, greeted the world that sort of way. And apparently he tried to kick her. And at one point. And she was strong, she was a strong lady. She had sort of survived Nazi occupation of, I think it was Amsterdam. In any case, she was a tough cookie for a young woman, and she grabbed his foot. He tried to kick her. She just grabbed his foot and went woof, and like over he went. It was sort of like a judo, where you use the other person's strength to as the very leverage to flip him around, and she did that. And I witnessed it again with that same guy when he grew up into a grown-ass man and was confronted with a kid who was doing that to him. And I thought, oh man, he's going to go off, because he was kind of a go-off guy. And no, he grabbed the kid's foot. The kid was like 4 or something. Grabbed the kid's foot and just went like that. And did with the same technique. And it's not a violent technique. I mean, this was on the lawn with a supple kid. He just sort of went boosh. So that was like that's one way of teaching someone who's aggressing that can then be passed down. It was learned so well, kinetically. The foot goes out and woof, I don't have control anymore. I'm on my ass. How did that happen? Well, he understood it enough to do it to somebody else. And it's a non-violent response to a violent, even from a little kid, the aggression of the kick. And I guess that does fit into what I was saying before, that some people, when the kid aggressed, would flatten them. And other people tried to touch their way out of it, or back off their way out of it, or whatever it was. It wasn't put him in a choke, not a chokehold. I never saw that, but I saw holds that were a little choky. 3 adults on a kid. 3 adults on a kid. So, and the one other thing I wrote down, because it's really been troubling me, and I think I talked about it the other day, or it comes up in the readings periodically, that there can be an apology made, say in the form of Page of Cups, and also the apology accepted in the form of forgiveness. And sort of for the complete thing, it would be nice to have both sides. I'm not sure it needs both sides. I think you can apologize without getting that forgiveness, or at least not right away. I don't know. But there's something about that. And, you can accept the apology wholeheartedly. But at least for me, and kudos on you for apologizing. That takes courage. I have talked about this before. But can I, as the person who deserves the apology, then be, able to wipe the slate clean, so that there's no like, oh my God, you're doing it again. You're the person who does this. Can you, because I know there are certain relationships where I can't get a clean slate. And I've seen it in other people within the family. They love each other, but some rupture came. And while there's forgiveness on both sides, there's never again the sort of innocent connection where they're not ready to be triggered kind of by the other guy. And me too. And I'm sorry, I do go on, and this has gone on for 10 minutes, so if you're watching it and you just feel like, when's she going to get to the thing? Wait till I hold up a card. Skip ahead until you, in that different learning styles category, I realize there are people who, and I'm one of them, think in analogy. Think in a way that connects even disparate things to each other. I get it that this relationship exists, and it's like this relationship. Even if it's apparently different, there's something analogous. There's something that connects the two. And then I think, that predominantly that's probably how my brain works. And there are other people who are like, don't think that way. Even in standardized tests, there's one of them that looks at, do you think in analogy? Are you able to think A is to A like, A is to B like C is to what? And you can say like, and I was good at that. And then I think there are other people who think sort of more in a linear way, because analogy gets kind of complicated. It looks like when you're drawing a star or something, versus when you're just drawing the line. And I'm not sure linear thinking can be described as just drawing the line, but there's a beginning and an end and a movement, that may be recursive, that may take little detours and stuff, but it's still aiming for that thing. Whereas the analogous person is sort of aiming for the cross section of things. That's how I envision it. Anyway, enough, okay? Here we go. And how long did it? It took 12 minutes. And you can tell me in the comments, please don't give the big spiel at the beginning, or, we can tolerate the big spiel at the end. I can sort of tell. YouTube will let me look at that, so maybe you don't have to chime in. You can always chime in, though. I'm not averse to people chiming in at all. Chime in if you feel like it. Okay, so learning styles. The difference between accepting an apology without having the wrong taint the way you envision the future. Can you wipe the slate clean? Can you accept somebody who has a completely different method of learning and or how their brain functions? Can you breach the gap? Ace of Cups. There's an opportunity to breach the gap through love. Through looking for the opportunity to love. And that's not necessarily of two people. It could be just that one person who looks for the opportunity to love. I don't know. Let's see. Okay. Page of Pentacles. Sun. Page of Pentacles. Like, here's a real thing I'm offering in 3D. The opportunity to grow something. How about this? It's sort of saying. And what is it we want to grow? Transparency, happiness, light, joy. openness, open-heartedness, the ability to say, let's build, you know, this is what I'm willing to invest in the opportunity to grow this thing. You know, because the risk versus the benefits. Okay. Three of Cups. Under Ace of Cups. The opportunity for the loving, you know, looking for the opportunity to love. And this is Three of Cups, a card of reunion, coming together, friendship. I'm so glad we found each other. You know, they're facing the future together. But they love each other. Is it worth the risk? Oh, yeah. Because all you have in the spread so far are cards of opportunity for happiness and love, making it real. I mean, okay. Oh, see, the minute I say that, it's like, it goes Nine of Swords. I think that's, speaks to that a bit, you know, that business of, I can accept the apology, but can I envision a new way forward with this person? Because they're not really the same thing. And there's anxiety around that. Because I think this Nine of Swords is like, I'm stuck in a mindset that says, you know, I don't know what could happen. I don't know. And it's driving me a little crazy. There's an uncertainty. Maybe about, can I clear the slate? My heart is good. Can I clear the mental, the memory maybe? And this is a card of walking away. Eight of Cups. Towards something else. And that's, I guess, a question here. Are you walking to it or away from it? And both. And maybe to get to this heartfelt offer of something real that's warm and happy and in the open, can we get to this place of reunion and being afraid? Well, do we walk toward it anyway? That's how I'd read it. Do we walk away from our Nine of Swords anxiety over the thing, our mental, like, there's a monkey mind, you know, thoughts that just ping, 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 and put us in a state of anxiety. Nine of Swords. You know, is the pull of love strong enough? The pull for the opportunity of love and reunion strong enough to get me out of my head, out of my anxiety? And maybe can I walk away from that, the anxiety about, is it going to happen again? That willingness to accept the apology, but am I willing to risk going forward with this person? Have they really changed? And there's anxiety around that on somebody's part. And I'm not sure on whose part. Okay. Yeah, somebody's got their defenses up. And I think the other person maybe knows it, because this is Nine of Swords, Nine of Wands. You know, defense is up. Oh, yeah. You know, I'm on this side, you're on that side, and stay there, basically. The doors are shut. I barred the door. You know, nobody's coming through. And somebody may know that, almost like telepathically, when they're at night alone, they get, you know, and I'm not even sure that it's true, but I think it might be true. So let's clarify from the perspective of this Nine of Wands person, because I think there are two different people. One who's guarded and one who's worried about whatever's happened that makes the other person guarded. All right, so tell me about the reunion, please. Maybe from the perspective of this guarded person. Yeah, guarded person, holding back person. You know, somehow feeling threatened, you're going to take something away from me. You know, like you might offer it, but you're going to hold back. You know, that's what I've experienced before. I have my guard up. You know, I don't really trust that that I can invest because you're not. Something like that. That's on Three of Cups, this card of potential reunion. So it says, yeah, somebody in this is like feeling protective. Feeling protective. And I can see what card is under there, so. Sorry, weird noises going on in the kitchen. What's going on, Rue? And on Nine of Swords, King of Wands. Well, somebody is finding their purpose, their fire, their direction, their mojo. That's on Nine of Swords. King of Wands doesn't often get stuck in that Nine of Swords monkey mind energy. This person operates on, very heart-centered place of intuitive understanding about where I go and what I do. Maybe even despite this fearful stance. Holding back. Person who's guarded. Okay, on Eight of Cups, we have Ace of Wands. These cards have been coming out in different combos. It's almost like we're using the same vocabulary. Well, this is the fresh thing, the fresh direction. And I'd say somebody going in a new direction. King of Wands based on Ace of Wands, this inspirational, intuitive sense of, I can envision it. And I'm following that. Because I use the word envision, at least it's in my notes. When the apology comes in, can you envision the way forward? I think so. Somebody can envision the way forward. Somebody who may be held back before and was in a defensive mode, in a protective mode. And there's a card here, Major Arcana, looking at me, but I don't think it's time to talk about it yet. Ace of Cups, please. The opportunity for love, open-heartedness, heart activation. World. I think the open heart opens the way to the new thing, to the fresh thing, the Ace of Wands thing. An ending and a new beginning. You know, that's what this Ace of Cups opportunity, and I say heart activation partly because, I mean, you know, it's like it's a, it's something you do, but it's you do it by allowing, and the heart opens and the portal opens. I swear we've had that exact combo of cards. And I don't, you know, it doesn't really matter. It's just interesting to know. The way through to the new thing is to open the heart. And I would suggest doing that is not like, I'll accept your apology, but I can't envision a time when I wouldn't sort of secretly blame you for whatever it is that you're apologizing for. This doesn't suggest that. This is the new thing, the fresh thing. Ace of Wands, Ace of Cups, World. A lot of major arcana coming out here. Hangman on Page of Pentacles. I think this is an offer that somebody's going to consider. Certainly. Take time to consider it. You know, it's not like you can apologize, but it'll never be the same, and I'll always be triggered by blah, 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 blah. This is saying, you know, I'll take a new perspective. And that's going to take a little time. Take time to take a new perspective. You know, I mean, we don't go, you know, I've been thinking this way all along, but now I'm thinking that way. It's like, it takes a while. It does. And somebody said yesterday, was talking about liminal space, you know, the time it takes to get from, you know, it's the middle way where you're not there yet, but you've left one shore behind, you're heading toward the other shore. At least that's how I think of liminal space. And this is sort of giving yourself that time to process your feelings about this offer, this tangible offer. And I think whoever that is, their first reaction is to clam up, hold back. I remember what happened before. Nobody's taken the rest of these coins away from me. It's not money. It's like I've invested in something, and now I'm in a protective mode. Protect my investment, something like that. But I'm like stepping into my own power to move forward, to know how to move forward in a new way. Ace of Wands. One more on the Sun. Seven of Pentacles. Nurturing something. It isn't overnight. The new perspective, the new beginning, the stepping through the portal, the heart opening, all of that takes time and attention. Remember I was saying just now, Hangman takes time. Take your time. you know, and that's not like saying, slow it down, just hang up there, buddy, take your time. It's like, this is valuable. Nurture it, grow it, over time. Keep investing, keep showing up on Sun. And this is sort of the light that nurtures the thing that's going to grow. That's going to grow. The right conditions, this thing will grow. And the card that I've been looking at this whole time is Empress, which is the principle of growth. It's Gaia. She's pregnant with it. She's got the world in her belly. This is an energy of being able to sort of bring it into creation, bring it into being. Bring it into being. Under that, the Magician. How you bring it into being. They're both cards of doing just that. One's Gaia, I'll birth the world. This is like, I know what to do to bring this into being. And it may be two different ways of doing it, because one's sort of organic, Gaia, I birth the world. And the other's a little bit like, I'll bring it into being because I have all the tools. I can build this thing. I know how to do it. I at least will try. And it might be, again, those two different learning patterns. Page of, I saw the one underneath, and I'm going to stop on that one. Like, stop the reading. Stop! Like, yeah, underneath that, grow it, manifest, birth it, is like the card to me of whoopee, like, here we are, discovering the new thing. The inspirational energy to make this happen. Wands energy, to make it happen. We can do it. And it's near a page of coins. We can bring it into being, and it's a joy. To me, it's the card of whoopee. Here we go. Last one I'm going to look at, Four of Wands. I'd do this too. If you can find your way, Ace of Wands, Page of Wands, to this kind of happy, and it's right next to the card of reunion and the card of Four of Pentacles, holding back. Well, not anymore. If you've been up in your head about something, worrying about, can I go forward, can I do it? There's a new perspective where I can grow it. It's stable and it's inspired both. And the one I said, the deck I wasn't going to look at, and we've ended with this card a bunch of times, the love offer. Like I said, there's both the need to make the apology and the need to accept the apology. And this is, everything here indicates, defenses may have been thrown up in the past, but there's a way through based on this new Ace of Wands direction. And I think, the love offer is both made and accepted, because that's what this would imply. That's what these cards would imply. There's a reunion, because this is a card of reunion too. And from a place of holding back. I'm protecting myself. To four of Pentacles, I'm holding back. To no longer holding back, like meeting you halfway. The offer's made and accepted. It leads us to a place of union. You know, and whatever you've been trying to birth or manifest, you have King of Wands and Empress. I think there's a divine feminine, you know, who just is the sort of Gaia principle. Like, you could, you know, twink one seed into the parking lot, and Gaia says, yes, I can grow that, I can do it. And there's a certain degree of I here, magician. But somebody's pulled it off. The offer's been made and accepted. You know, and the walls come tumbling down. From 9 of Wands to 4 of Wands, really? From unguarded to, I'll meet you there. I will meet you there. And the other person's like, yeah, I'll meet you there too. Saying, say major arcana. Okay, Sun would be Leo. Hangman would be Pisces. World is all the fixed signs. I don't think it has a particular astrological sign assigned to it. It's just the portal. It's just the new thing. We have Leo showing up big time. Gemini, Virgo, Taurus. Gemini, Virgo, Taurus, which I don't think, for the purpose of this reading, is about astrological signs. I think it's about energy. And I think the offer's made and received, you know, and accepted, but that this character is the action-taking masculine energy. One of you is going to sort of like take the lead, in the sense that I will take this action to offer love, and it's received and accepted, and because it lands like the seed in the parking lot in such fertile ground. Fertile, and there may be a pregnancy involved. Not necessarily, but, you know, fertile ground, we keep talking about the fertile ground. But bringing it into being, birthing it, whatever it is, saying, we can create this thing. There's fertile ground. Somebody really recognizes that. And I think so does the other person, you know, sort of eventually. In good time, we'll come to a new perspective. Oof. That allows for a new direction. It's a very fresh energy, and I think there's certainly an idea of one can accept the apology in the form of this Page of Pentacles kind of energy, and absolutely move forward and envision Ace of Wands, the new path, which is a path to we can come together and not hold back, that's safe to do. Yes, sirree Bob, that sounds good to me. All right, guys, I'll subscribe. Shout out to the subscribers. Thank you very much. And to all the other people, welcome in should you choose to join. It's helpful in the meantime if you just go like that, because, you know, I have a feeling this resonated with some of you. And I hope so. It resonated with me in any case. Not all readings do, but this one sort of rings a bell. So ring the bell, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Love you guys.